Hey guys, James here again. This is going to be what if Luffy was a Lunarian. Now this what if, kind of new, and I think it'd be interesting. One thing I wanted to point out before I start, that Luffy picture was taking like a fucking hour to edit, not edit, but like to crop out the background, because I could not just, I kept missing a certain part of it, because there's Luffy with a fire dragon behind him, and then, as I tried to edit that fire dragon, the flames kept blending into his sandals, his straw hat. I kept screwing up both, so it took me an hour or two to smooth this whole thing out. So yeah. Now, basically, this one, the way Luffy's a Lunarian, he'd be half Lunarian. So, we'd have Dragon, who would be a Marine when he was younger, and the Celestial Dragons had a prisoner being one of the last Lunarians. And say, to make it interesting, this last Lunarian is King's sister. Dragon and this one of the Lunarians, or this female Lunarian, get busy, and prisoner, she was kind of granted some sort of freedom because she could break out if she chose to. Even with a hockey infused cage, she was insanely strong, so she was able to break out. So she had a little bit of freedom. Her and Dragon got busy during her time of freedom, and when it was found out that she was pregnant, Dragon's the only one that knew, and Dragon found some way to hide her birth, and, he doesn't know, he knows Ivan. Let's say he knows Ivan. Ivan used Double to find some way to help her give birth a lot earlier, which results in Luffy being born earlier. He's born around the same time as Ace and Sabo, just a few months before. Not before, a few months after. So, Luffy is born in May still, and Luffy's born half Lunarian. Dragon knows what Lunarian is, and doesn't know Luffy will probably be one tough bastard. But he's wondering about the wings. Luffy don't have wings, because King has wings, and he only can fly with his double fruit, so... Or I haven't seen him fly in his normal form, because pretty sure, even his page says his wings are just probably only for decoration. They don't seem to help him fly. So yeah, Luffy won't have wings, because they seem useless. If they prove useful later, or if King's wings prove useful later, Luffy can grow some wings out of nowhere. He can grow them, but... For now, let's say he doesn't have any. But yeah. So, Luffy's born. Dragon would raise Luffy for around 4 or 5 years. The Lunarian is killed because, she begins rebelling, wanting to at least draw some attention away from Dragon because, Dragon was kind of getting, people started getting suspicious of him because he had taken some time off. And due to that time being taken off, people think he has nothing to do with the Lunarian because he was a higher up in the Marines and was able to explore around and didn't know the Lunarians, they seem like friends. So, it's kind of weird for them. So I kind of think Dragon has something to do with the Lunarian, and they're a little suspicious about it, so they kill the Lunarian. They're right, because around a month later, Dragon had left the Marines and started the revolutionary spin with his right-hand man being Ivan. So here's Luffy for the next 2 years. Excuse me, like I said, the next 5 years. Luffy ceases to train with Dragon, and his Lunarian abilities begin kicking in. He means being able to basically be durable as hell, and just gonna be an all-around monster. Pause real quick. So, Luffy trains and is raised by Dragon for 5 years. Then Luffy begins going to Fisher Village, living with Garp. Not Garp, but Makino, and then Garp comes to visit. And we're going to go to when Luffy is around, let's say... Also, forgot to mention one thing. There's something I want to do, because we found something interesting about Zoro's past, so what I'm going to have to do is a little bit interesting, so I'm going to push back Zoro's life a bit. So when Luffy's 10, he meets Shanks, and him and Shanks get along pretty well. So as he keeps on training in life, he just gets stronger. And when he meets Ace and Sabo, first meets Ace. Ace doesn't fit on Luffy because Luffy's pretty big, and Luffy kind of just wears the basic, you know what Garo from One Punch Man wears? That's kind of what Luffy just wears. It's not as skin tight, more like a loose shirt. So yeah. And Luffy's also just a pretty good martial artist, and he calls himself Straw Eye Luffy. That's what he calls himself. But when we go to basically when Luffy is when. So instead of basically Luffy being captured by Port Chemi, it's going to be Sabo. And Ace, got Luffy, because Luffy starts doing some weird things like at night just to train, and Ace doesn't notice these weird things. Now, these weird things be Luffy kind of making balls of fire and then kind of juggling them. So Ace would ask Luffy if he can help Sabo, and Luffy agrees. He runs down and immediately jumps straight through the window. Jump straight through a window that in the building Sabo was being held in. As he jumps to the window, he kicks Pochemi right in the face, seeing him as the aggressor, which he is. With that, Pochemi is knocked out immediately, and Luffy's physical strength is already above grown men. These guys are basically average, but Pochemi was the best one, and Luffy's already surpassing him in physical strength. Luffy proceeds beating down the rest of Pochemi's men. Swords and knives not really affecting him. Like, if they go to stab, it'll make a small cut, and that's really it. Or like a needle prick. With that, Luffy's able to beat them all, free Sabo. And Sabo had clearly watched these blades hit his skin, and the bullets hit his skin. Luffy's basically just a giant walking wall of steel. Not wall, but walking body of steel. So now we go to, around a few months later, Sabo's dad. Well, first off, Blue Gem declared war, and then Sabo's dad didn't want Sabo back. So, this is perfect. So more guards and bandits, more guards and pirates are assembled to fight Luffy, Ace, and Sabo. At this point, first wondering going through this so fast, anything important that happens, Luffy speedruns it. So, yeah. But now. So now, Luffy just proceeds to just train with Ace and Sabo and Nagari, but Luffy just made sure that Nagari's in Fushi Village. Well, not Fushi Village, but on Down Island, because he had a plan. So Luffy just proceeds to keep training with Ace, Sabo, and Nagari. And, well, Nagari doesn't know what Lunarian is, but can acknowledge Luffy's a fucking beast. And Unitaki seems to have little to no effect on him. He even tried hitting Luffy with it, and as he gets older and stronger, like I said before, no effect. Or little to no effect. But yeah. So we go to so the whole thing with Sabo's dad and Blue Gem's crew. They kind of assemble a miniature army, and Luffy, well, due to Ace and Sabo having like pipes, Luffy wants a different weapon, but the weapon he finds isn't really too different. He's able to find a javelin, and kind of just been spinning it around, and begins weaponizing it. First, I want to mention something very important. Because Luffy's already broken, I will not be giving him a devil fruit that already gives Luffy more abilities than he needs. So Luffy pulls out the javelin, and Blue Gem's crew kind of the question, what do you do with that? Throw it at us? We can dodge it. Suddenly, Luffy kind of pulling like something he found in a picture book, kind of like a magician or a mage, pulls it out, and a gigantic ball of fire being formed at the end of it. And Luffy then says, "Incinerate." And suddenly, gigantic ball of fire shoots out and begins burning down most of Blue Gem's crew and some of the guards. So his father didn't know what the hell that was, but it scared the hell out of him. He ran at them using his body as a shield for Ace and Sabo, and Sabo and Ace were able to use that to take down all the gunmen. And with that, Luffy and them proceeded to take down the remaining members of Blue Gem's crew, which isn't many, but Blue Gem included, and Luffy just slashes his throat using the end of the javelin and kills him. Well, then we have everyone else who is able to be defeated. Sabo's dad is left alive, but retreats. And Luffy says if he's ever in the Great Terminal again, Luffy will scorch him on sight. So they nod. Sabo's dad nods and retreats, and he tells the king what happened. And the king, kind of nervous, but doesn't want to stir any trouble up because of what just happened. We have Sabo conquered the Great Terminal. Dragon is keeping close watch on Luffy, because when Luffy's around the age that some Lunarians would awaken their abilities. So he's kind of just watching this. He's very impressed with the control Luffy has over it. So he leaves, not thinking Luffy has any problem. Now, next problem will be the Great Terminal Fire, but the moment that fire will start, Luffy's able to control it somewhat, because I don't think we know the full extent of Lunarian abilities. Luffy's able to mix in some of his own fire with it, and being able to push all of it back to the gates of the kingdom and hold it there until people are able to extinguish a lot of the flames. Luffy begins weakening it, and people begin throwing water spitting on it, like any kind of water they can use. They begin just extinguishing it. By the time it's fully extinguished, the Great Terminal Fire cannot happen anymore, so Dragon arrives, being very disappointed, and leaves, and we have it there. In the moment the kings are talking about what happened, and with like Luffy, he's like, kid, that can't happen. And they don't ever think Dragon would ever hook up with Lunarian. No one would ever believe that. The only person that does know would be Ivan, Dragon, and Garp. Those three. Those three are the ones that do know the truth. Like, those specific three. And Garp will not tell a single soul unless it's Dragon or Ivan. And Luffy doesn't know who he is, but doesn't know what he doesn't know but knows abilities and doesn't know he's not fully human. So he does question what he is, but Garp will not tell him. So yeah, now after that whole debacle is settled, we go to I guess when Luffy would want to set sail, which is not that long, than like a week or two later. He's on a board in the Great Terminal, so yes, not really thinking going on vacation. But the thing is, they only want to go around the East Blue, not on the Grand Line, and not the Globe One Piece. Luffy's response is he only wants to stay in the East Blue, not going over the Red Line, and not going to the South Blue. Just travel to East. So this leads to Tsunagiri agreeing with this, and they proceed to just set around the East. Eventually, Luffy finds a village that he's a little curious about. So when they go there, it was named Shimozuki Village. So as they go there, Luffy's the only one that wants to go, so he just says that they can leave him. They can leave if they want. So they leave, and well, one of their stops happened to be Cocoyashi Village, and well, they sailed around other places. Then they went to Sturt Village. They chilled there for a bit, met Usopp, and they'd tell about Luffy and how he's so strong, how he's kind of like their leader, despite being the youngest. And then they went to Cocoyashi Village, met Nami. They're pretty good friends with her. And they settled down in Shimozuki Village, not Shimozuki, I mean, for Cocoyashi Village for a while. This will come into play later. So yeah, now, as Luffy is just in Shimozuki Village, he wanders around, seeing a boy using 3 swords, messing around, and, well, he's sitting next to an old man who's fishing. Now, Zoro has never seen Luffy around, and Kozaburo, this is the man's name, has never seen Luffy around either. Queen would run up because they had seen what looked like a pirate ship dock and a small boy get off. Now, Queen had followed Luffy and would kind of think he's a pirate, so she goes to attack him. The blade comes near his head, he flicks it, and got flicked in half. Zoro and Kozaburo are actually pretty impressed by this because that wasn't a steel blade, but it was made of some pretty damn hard wood, and Luffy just flicked it in half. He looked at Queen, who proceeded to attack him, and Luffy doesn't seem surprised by this at all. Just dodging left and right, and even though the blade hits him, well, not the blunt, but half, it's like, I don't know, called a blunt blade, but just half the blade would hit Luffy, doesn't even faze him. So eventually, Zoro would be attacking Luffy using his normal 3 swords, but Kozaburo would advise against it. But even if the regular blade cuts him, well, it doesn't work. There's not even a cut there. But eventually, Luffy would question what they're doing, and they say he's a pirate, so they're going to beat him. And Luffy then says he's not a pirate. That was a pirate ship they had found, and they've been using it because there's no one else occupied it. So yeah. So pause real quick. So eventually, Zoro and Queen continue attacking Luffy, and Kozaburo kind of just laughing at them. They realize that this blade isn't going to face Luffy whatsoever. Even Koshiro was wondering where Queen was, and Kozaburo told him, oh yeah, we're over here. And he kept watching Zoro and Queen being attacking Luffy. Luffy off instinct does dodge attacks, so that's why he dodges a bit, but after a while he realizes it's not going to hurt him, so he kind of just stood still. He then sat down, and Kozaburo threw Luffy a book saying, you're going to be here for a while. Luffy began reading it, just making sure the book didn't get scratched. Koshiro kind of shocked, even the steel blade was hitting Luffy was not phased. After Zoro and Queen got tired out, Luffy handed the finished book by Kozaburo, who was basically asleep at this point. Luffy dragged Zoro and Queen back to the dojo, or Ishin Dojo, if that's the name of it, and they've been talking for a bit, well, Luffy, Koshiro, and Kozaburo. Kozaburo explains who he is and how he's basically, he's an ex-samurai who founded this village. Now with that, Luffy kind of just wanted to talk to Kozaburo for a bit because Koshiro was going to bed. So Luffy and Kozaburo stayed up for a bit and began talking. And, well, with that, Luffy began talking to Kozaburo. Kozaburo was kind of just pretty... Luffy didn't have an interesting life. He's 10 years old. Kosoburo began telling Luffy about his life, and Luffy could already tell there's a lot more to it. And Luffy pressuring Kosoburo. Kosoburo gives in and tells Luffy about his whole life in Wano. Luffy thinks Wano sounds like a cool place, but Luffy has a goal to basically become king of the pirates now, to please Shanks, or just to become strong enough to give Shanks the pirate hat back. That's what he thinks the King of Pirates title will give him. But then, now, he wants to free Wano. It's a country full of isolation, and people who could have helped the world in so many ways, but were not allowed outside of their home country. I pause one more time, sorry. Alright, so Luffy he's about Wano, wants to free it, but also wants to become king of the pirates. Because Kosoburo being telling Luffy about that he heard about like what he heard about Kaido and Orochi ruling over Wano. Now Luffy, he kind of treats king of the pirates and freeing Wano like a side quest. His main goal is kind of beating Kaido now, because he's holding a country hostage alongside Orochi and turning it into the worst country possible by industrializing it. So yeah. Now with that, Luffy, best way to compare, I guess, is treating I'm kind of compare it to the way I use Zelda. Like, Kaido's like Ganon, but that's kind of my main goal in Zelda, but I do all side quests first. So Luffy may as well free up Wano and everything else, but Kaido is still number one priority. Or Ganon in that case. Like, yeah, this is my main priority, but I'm trying to do everything else behind his back, or try to, just do everything else so I can get a lot stronger, or experience things along the way that could help me in the future. So, yeah. Now we go to, I guess, when Zoro and Kuino wake up. Kosoburo went to sleep, Koshiro was awake, and Zoro and Kuino will question what Luffy's doing here, and why isn't he dead or at least knocked out somehow. He explains that, he got along with Koshiro and Kosoburo, and him and Kosoburo stayed up all night. After around a week, Kosoburo does die of old age, and Kuina does still want to be the greatest swordsman in the world thing. Luffy also just learned how to use a sword. Now, Luffy does hear Koshiro tell Kuina she can't be the greatest swordsman in the world. And Luffy would approach Koshiro saying, well then, if she can't be the greatest swordsman in the world, why is she almost already better than you? Koshiro kind of froze hearing that, but says, she can be the greatest swordsman in the world, she is not a man. Luffy then chuckles, looking at Kuina, saying, hear that? You can't be a swordsman, or the greatest swordsman. We can be the greatest swordswoman. And who says the greatest swordswoman can't beat the greatest swordsman? So basically, Luffy's trying to just mixing up the words, and Koshiro can't really say that's wrong, because swordswoman, swordsman, and it doesn't really matter. It works. So with that, well, it's kind of leaves a loophole for Koshiro, but does try to discourage Kuina. But Kuina just laughs, saying, "Ha, got you beat there," and she runs out. So yeah. Now, there's many theories about how Kuina died left for the stairs. Like, some say suicide, some say that she just kind of fell down the stairs, just being distraught. I'm kind of going the suicide thing. So, yeah. So this one, Kuina does not fall down the stairs, or quote unquote fall, but she stays alive. And after around a year or two, Makino was able to stall Garp, saying, oh yeah, they kind of went on a voyage with a man from the village, and they're sailing on the East Blue on kind of a vacation. So Garp's like, alright then, I'll just tell me when they come back. So after around a total of 3 years, they come back, and Luffy is holding a gigantic katana, which, let me find the name of that blade. Yeah, so Luffy has a katana kind of like this, like a more thick katana, or wide katana, but yeah, or samurai sword, whatever you want to call it, I don't really care. So, yeah. Now, with this, when Luffy reunites with Ace, Sabo, and Nagari, well, they sit in Cocoyashi Village for all 3 years. So when Arlong would go to attack, well, it ends pretty fast. Nagari is either conquerors and able to knock out all the fishmen, while Ace, Sabo, and him jumped Arlong and beat the living hell out of him. And it worked, so they win. And Arlong's crew left because, with a single glare, Nagari knocked out almost all of them, leaving Arlong the last one standing, and then he gets beat up as well. So it didn't really help at all. So yeah, now with that, everyone's crew left. Cocoyashi village is safe. Nami has a mother. Nami and Nojiko have a mother. It's all safe. It's all safe and sound. Okay, Luffy's able to go on the boat, who's now 13. Ace and Sabo are also 13. Nagari is just an old man still. But as soon as they get back to what was it? Fusha Village, Makino calls Garp saying they're back. You can come by whenever you want. In a week, Garp would arrive and see how big Luffy is. But also also notices the katana and, well, just how muscular Luffy is. And asks if Luffy can use at least some firepower, because Garp never asked about that yet. Luffy pulls out his sword and then it catches fire. Luffy then says, "Yup." And Garp asks how much Luffy knows, and Luffy then says he's basically a samurai now. And, well, he proceeds to attack Garp with it, and Garp can note Luffy is probably most likely a samurai. Well, on level of 1. So, but Garp is pretty impressed with Luffy, pretty impressed with Ace and Sabo, and now we go to when they're all 17. When they're 17, Luffy ends up leaving first, because, well, he's Luffy. He leaves first, kind of wearing what you see here, and he has the straw hat on, plus the wide katana. And Luffy just keeps a stash of weapons with him at all times. This is 3 years before the current story, so Luffy's a lot younger. Now, Luffy sails around, kind of just messing around in East Blue for a bit, not really wanting to be a pirate yet, or not really having ideas for being a pirate. He kind of sails around, and eventually does come across their village. He gets there, and he remembers what Yasop said to him, saying, "Oh yeah, I can bring Usopp out to sea if you ever decide to become a pirate or a marine. Bring him out to sea because he wants to be a brave warrior of the sea." Luffy agrees with this, agrees with the statement in his head, and he gets to their village. So Luffy is 17. That leaves him to be, what was it? Fuck, let me think about this. At this point, Luffy is 17, that leave Usopp to be around 15. So Usopp's around 15 years old, and Luffy, when he gets there, Usopp has "I have an army of 1,000 men, you can't beat me." But Luffy just laughs, saying he's not here for a fight, he's here to talk to someone. Usopp would ask what Luffy wants, and he says he's looking for Usopp. Usopp immediately shivers, saying, "You found the great Captain Usopp." He just laughs, saying, "Come on, how great can a 15-year-old be as a pirate captain?" He comes up, landing in front of Usopp, and as he talks to Usopp for a bit, Usopp does realize that Luffy's being actually friendly, so it works out. Now with that, Luffy begins just telling Usopp who sent him and why he's who sent him, why he's here, and if Usopp accepts. Now, Usopp accepts just going to join the pirate crew immediately because Luffy's displays he can make fire out of nowhere. But during this time on Sword Village, he wants to test out Usopp's power, so he stays there for around 4 months. And it works out for Usopp. He's able to get some tips from Luffy, and Luffy coincidentally teaches him how to use a sword and a staff because he trained with Ace and Sabo a lot and doesn't know how to use one. So Usopp eventually does build Kabuto because Luffy recommends it. And when Usopp says he wants to be if Luffy wants to be king of the pirates, he'll become the king of the snipers. And Luffy just makes a joke calling him Soga King. Or Soga King. Or Sog King. I don't care. Soga King. So Usopp kind of makes the mask and kind of wears it around his waist. Or kind of wears it kind of hanging around his neck. Kind of just how Luffy kind of wears a straw hat. And it works. So, yeah. Eventually, Luffy's able to sense that Kuro doesn't have any good intentions behind it, and he tells Usopp. And Kai, actually believing Usopp a little more than Kuro, knows that she listens to Usopp when he tells her this. With that, she fires Kuro, and they see his reaction. Because Luffy didn't really trust Kuro once he got fired. But Kuro broke in, and one of the words that Kai specifically heard him mumble is, "Damn it, I'll kill and rob her now instead of later." And in response, Luffy appears behind him, slashing his back clean open, and kills him. Luffy just laughs, saying, "Really? That easy?" And Kuro just died right then and there, so it didn't really work out either. Well, it didn't work out. So Luffy just laughs, saying, "Alright then, well, I'll get rid of the body." He drags Kuro outside, and they see a very specific kind of black smoke. Eventually, Luffy comes back, with his hands kind of steaming, and he then says that him and Usopp will leave tomorrow morning. And they do just that. Luffy has one new idea. His next stop will be Shimozuki Village. Him, Quina, and Zoro. Well, Quina kind of owes him a favor in some way. Not like in the story she owes him a favor, but outside of reality, outside the One Piece world, she owes him a big favor. He prevented her from dying. So yeah. So he goes to Shimozuki Village. When he gets there, well, no. Let's go before that. Before he gets there, he stops at a little village for fishing, and while he's there, he meets a certain pink-haired boy who's about to get on the boat. Luffy had seen the boy get off the boat, but was about to get back on, and Luffy points out it's the wrong boat. So Kobe gets on the right boat and does thank Luffy. Now Kobe does not get on Alvida's boat, so he's completely safe. And Luffy will continue wandering around when he encounters two men who are arguing with a fisherman. Make sure you get their ages right. At this point, these men being named Johnny and Yosuke, or named as Johnny and Yosuke by the fishermen. Johnny being around 20 and Yosuke being around 21. Well, as they argue, Luffy just says what's they're arguing about. They're being pretty loud. They explain the price of the fish, and Luffy looks at the fish, saying, "Oh, it's rotten fish." Johnny and Yosuke look at it closely, realizing it is. And immediately the fisherman begins yelling at Luffy and brings out a bat, saying if Luffy keeps saying garbage, he'll hit Luffy in the face with it. In response, Luffy pulls out his white katana, threatening to cut the fisherman in half, and then turn him into fish fillet, or human fillet. Fisherman just kind of submits, saying he'll throw all the fish, that it's rotten and bad, and he does just that. But now, with Luffy, he talks to Johnny Yosuke, and they get along pretty well. And when Luffy says he's going to leave, they ask to go with Luffy. And Luffy did get a small favor from Mary, because Luffy was able to convince Usopp to talk to Kai like a normal person, and Kai did let Usopp into the castle. Mary didn't like it, but not castle. I mean the mansion. Mary didn't like it, but just quickly got along with Usopp, so they already had a ship ready, and they have the Mary. So as they sail away with Johnny Yosuke and Usopp. Next up, Shimozuki Village. Get there, they get to the docks, jump off, and well, Zoro and Kuina kind of hoped Luffy would come back someday. It's been 4 years, they miss him. But as they can see the boat, they don't think that'd be Luffy's style, until he jumps off the boat. And they recognize the attire. And well, not the attire, just the straw hat mainly. The attire is completely different. Now, Zoro would yell for Luffy, and him and Luffy high five with Kuina smiling at Luffy. Luffy just nods, saying, "Hey, you know how I talked about being a pirate a few years ago? Well, I'm living out my dream now." Luffy kind of decided that he'll, like with Usopp, he decided he'll just become a pirate, so he'll do it. He doesn't need to spend time waiting. Zoro and Kuina kind of like, why are you here to tell us that? And if he explains, he wants them to be some of the crew members. Now, Kuina does say that she doesn't want to be a pirate. She's cool as a teacher. But Luffy explains, well, the greatest horse in the world, he found out, is actually a warlord, which is a hired pirate. Kuina does actually know this, and asks Luffy what his point is, and Luffy explains. Why would he ever come to Shimozuki Village? And because he never will, that makes it so Kuina will never know if she's the strongest swordswoman in the world. Kuina does actually the point in that, and says she's going with Luffy. And Zoro's going because Kuina is going. Kosho does hear about this and is okay with it after saying goodbye to Luffy, Zoro, and Kuina, and they leave. Now, next stop being Cocoyashi Village, because Nagari and Ace and Sabo talked about Nami for a bit, and he's pretty cool with them, so he just goes. So Luffy just gets to Cocoyashi. Yeah. He gets to Cocoyashi Village, and when he gets there, they kind of think, oh, it's a pirate attack, we're going to be ready for a fight. Now, immediately, Belmere meets Luffy at the dock with a gun, and she aims at Luffy's head, telling him to turn back, but he just keeps walking. But Belmere didn't fire at all, and Genzo and Nami and Nochiko question why, when she says, that is Nagari's, that's one of Nagari's, students. Because Nagari showed a picture of him, Ace, Sabo, and Luffy, and Belmere recognized the straw hat and the face, and the scar mainly, but yeah, scar under Luffy's eye. She recognized it and was like, okay, he's a pirate, but he's a good guy, we assume, and he is. So he kind of explores the village, asking to talk to Nami, and when Nami and him begin talking, Belmere would ask what Luffy wants, and he just says that Nagari would say, Nagari had said that that someone in the village could be a pirate or at least help Luffy out, defeat some worse pirates. And with that, it was, well, true. Nami had said that she's willing to do anything to get back at pirates or fishermen. Luffy just tells her about the fisherman discrimination, how it goes on, but says that a lot of fishermen aren't good, while it's just a select few that are bad and hate humans. And so the armed troops probably most likely somewhere out there in the South Blue or the East, one of the two, or over the Grand Line, or not Grand Line, over the Red Line. So Nami then says that she wants to get back at Arlong because she couldn't do it before, so she just says that she's going to do it herself. So Bellmare's kind of hesitant, but Nami says she can do it herself. And Nojiko's like, Nami, you can't do it, but Bellmare's like, if you want to do it, go ahead. Pause. So Bellemere and Nojiko discourage it, so it's Genzo, but Nami insists she can do it herself, and eventually it works out. So, yeah. Now we go to just Nami leaving with them. And it may be set up, but I didn't have any other way for Nami to join this early, so yeah. Just watch one time real quick. Alright, so Luffy, Zoro, Kuina, Nami, Johnny, Yosuke, and Usopp keep sailing around. They encounter a small dinghy. On the small dinghy is a very sharp boy who has pink hair. Usopp pointed out who it was, and Luffy says, "Oh, the kid that was on the dock a few weeks ago." Luffy jumps off, picking up Kobe, and Kobe is very, very malnourished and pretty cut up. Luffy jumps up, putting Kobe on the boat, and begins administering some form of help to his body. He does so, and Kobe's being healed up. So Kobe's being healed and fed. And they go to the Bratier because, none of them are good cooks. They're decent at best. Well, not decent, they're average. Luffy can make some decent food because he's cooked with his hands, but that's really it. And everyone else had just used their own things. But now we go to Bratier. We get there, Kobe's fed. Some of the fishermen healing Kobe up if they're a little better. And it works. So yeah, they're fed, and Luffy begins getting along with Sanji. Him and Sanji are a little more each other. Like they're pretty similar in personality. But it works. So eventually, after kind of getting along with Sanji, Luffy's about to leave for a few hours, and Zeph begins talking to Luffy outside. Now Sanji does eavesdrop on this, and Zeph says that Sanji's dream is the all blue, and that Luffy seems like a very well-driven young man, not just someone driven by power. Luffy explains he has a goal to free a certain country by the name of Wano Kuni. Zeph hasn't heard of it, but does say, what do you mean free it? Luffy explains the laws of Wano, and Luffy says he wants to free it. There's so much wasted potential that could help someone else in the world, but it's being kept in by the laws. And he may never know, he may be able to unleash one of those people on the world, and they may help it for the better. So, yeah. Zeph thinks it's a wonderful goal. And say on Luffy's adventure, he may even encounter the All Blue. And it's a request that Luffy bring Sanji with him. Now that Luffy does say that he's willing to bring Sanji if Sanji accepts. Now Sanji actually walks out saying he wants to go with Luffy. Sanji has a specific goal because it's a forbidden country that no man's ever seen. So with that, he may see some beauties he's never ever seen before in his life, alongside everyone else. Well, Zeph will be so jealous. Cooks will be so jealous. I'll be the first man in the Bratier to ever see this. Or first man in the East to ever see this. He will not be, but he thinks he will. So with this, Luffy then says, "Well, you wouldn't be the first man in the East Blue to see it. I heard about it from an ex villager there." The guy escaped, and he says he was just too strong to be held back, so he left. Which isn't too common there. Because everyone strong there has left at some point, according to the man. So yeah. Now, let's pause one more time. Sorry so much. Okay, so Luffy just proceeds to sail away from Bratier with Sanji on his crew, because Sanji wants to find the All Blue, but also potentially see some forbidden woman. So he thinks that's an okay goal, with Kobe being with them. Long time they didn't really need anything. Nami had all of her stuff from Belmere, so she's okay. And eventually they go over the mountain. Well, not mountain, over Reverse Mountain. As they sail down, Laboon is not there, and they begin just talking to both Luffy. Luffy doesn't hit Laboon, or gets close to, but he proceeds to kind of just talk to Laboon and everyone else. Not everyone else, Laboon and Crocus mainly. He's able to use the voice of all things to communicate with Crocus. Not Crocus, I mean with Laboon, and it works decently. So Crocus get along. Well, Crocus doesn't know Luffy's a Lunarian due to just his flame abilities that he displays to Kobe and Sanji. And he thinks it's pretty impressive. So, yeah. But they keep on sailing around, and eventually they leave. But Luffy first doesn't. Well, first Luffy just draws the whole shot symbol on Laboon's back instead of his forehead, because this is somewhat common sense and is decent at some things. So first arc, I guess, would be Whiskey Peak. Well, first Grand Line arc would be Whiskey Peak, and let me pause real quick. Sorry for pausing so much. I'm really tired, so I'm yawning a lot, but I'm also hungry. Those Straw Hats get to Whiskey Peak, and they just kind of walk around exploring it, and still not ravaged, but filled with bounty hunters. Mr. Nine, Igaram, and Miss Monday still being the main ones. But at nighttime, well, someone tries to attack Luffy. Well, he turns them into a flaming corpse. And everyone else tries to attack him, he gets the same treatment. And Sanji kicking around everyone that's man around him if they try to attack. Well, not many will help him take on women around him. Once everything's settled, and Kobe's on the ship watching this happen. John and Yosuke are participating in this, so Zoro and Quina. And Sanji just tried hitting on Quina, but does realize immediately she has feelings for Zoro. And Zoro kind of has the same feelings for her, it's just, well, they don't know that they like each other. That's really it. Anytime I have a what if Quina's alive, I may make Zoro and her be a couple, but yeah. But now I guess we just go to Little Garden. We get to Little Garden and they just begin chilling. And they do meet Dory and Bragi, they get along pretty well. And as they chill with Dory and Bragi are not poisoned, but they're not blown up. So Dory isn't blown up with alcohol, and it chills. And then when they leave, next up will be Drum Island, but they're going there for Kobe mainly, because Kobe's medical treatment is doing too well, but they don't get a proper checkup from an actual doctor. So I guess the next spot would be it's the way they'd have to meet Chopper. Wait, never mind. So Luffy and their Straw Hats will be looking for a doctor, not being able to find any. But they find out about Dr. Green. They find some way to reach out to her. So by the time they reach out to her, she comes over and sees Kobe and it's just a checkup. Outside, Luffy sees Chopper and is already able to tell Chopper's a Delphi user. Because, well, one, normal reindeer are disobedient, or they shouldn't be. Encounters fair share of weird animals, especially being from the Goa Kingdom. So he asks Dr. Green about Chopper, and she explains that, oh yeah, just my reindeer. He explains he's clearly a Delphi user. Feeling knows what those are from Garp. That's really it. But yeah. Wait, one more time. Okay, so Dr. Newman asks what they're willing to give, for their payment of money, and Dr. Newman puts the straw saying that she'll take that, and he's taking off Luffy's head. When suddenly he says, "Touch my straw, touch a single piece of straw in my hat, and I will dismember you." She goes towards the katana, and Luffy says, "Don't touch a single thing on my body. These are important." This is asked, "Do anything that's not valuable?" And Luffy points to Sanji's closet, saying, "There's a lot of suits in there that are pretty useless." Sanji says, "Wait, they're all important to me." When Luffy just laughs, saying, "No, they'll say they're not important whatsoever." And, well, Dr. Green takes around half of Sanji's stuff. And then Luffy being talking to Chopper, she's kind of going through everything that she wants to keep. And as Luffy just proceeds to just talk to Chopper, him and Chopper going pretty fast. But then eventually, Dr. Ian does leave with Chopper, but Luffy would ask about like why is everyone here so upset with life? Because no one here seem happy. And with that, well, she says talk about Wapol to Luffy. Luffy will laugh, saying that Wapol doesn't sound too strong. He's gonna go beat him. The Charles are gonna question how's Luffy gonna get up those gigantic towers? Luffy jumps in the air and flames come from his feet. Dr. Ian and Chopper are a little impressed with this. Not impressed, not a little, but they're amazed. Luffy just shoots himself up in the air as fast as possible. Not fast, but as high as possible. He's able to see the castle and climbs up there. As he gets up there, he ends up coming across Chess, Dalton, Kuromarimo, and other random Wapol guards. The attack to no avail, just being burned or beat. And they get to Wapol and Mushiro. Those two, they fight Luffy, and it's not even a fight. It's just abuse. That's really it. Yeah, so those two are beaten pretty easily. And Luffy looks like Dalton, who kind of avoided every single attack, and not even wanting to help. And he has to swallow Dalton about that, and he explains his whole situation with Chopper, Dr. Hero, Dr. Ian. Luffy just laughs, saying that Dalton's allowed to leave. So it works. So, yeah. Nothing important or impactful happened in this arc. That's really it. Dalton was the closest to impactful, and nothing important happened with him. So, yeah. With that, I guess we conclude this arc. But I'm going to conclude this part here, because what time is it? 12 a.m. And I need to relax and sleep, because I have school in 6 hours. So, bye.